welcome to this week's meeting of the Columbia Rotary Club. We're glad you're here in a nice, newly renovated venue here at Seawells. And it's great to see so many of you. We'll get started by singing. Before we do that, take a minute and greet those around you.
As Rotarians, we are generally blessed with lives of relative luxury and opportunities unknown to many. Help us to review our checkbooks and indeed the register of our lives with honesty as we consider our priorities and opportunities to help others. Open our hearts and our accounts to those in need while still providing us with appropriate fruits of our own labors. Help us to share not only our tangible wealth, but also our intangible riches of knowledge, leadership, and creativity to make our city, our nation, and our world a better place, filled with the peace and love that you can bring through us. Thank you, Lord, for the food we're about to receive, for the nourishment of our bodies, for Christ's sakes. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, yeah, you may be seated. Thank you, Leah. Let me remind all of you, if someone from every table would pass the blue bucket around, go ahead and somebody grab the bucket from each table and hold it up high. Let me see it. Let me see all the buckets. Thank you. Pass those around. All the money that goes into the blue bucket, as you know, goes to our card fund for Alzheimer's research. So we call forward Reva Harris as she welcomes our visiting Rotarians and guests.
Happy afternoon to everyone. Welcome to Rotary on Today. Welcome to our visiting Rotarians, Tom Ledbetter from West Metro. Tom? Yay. Ray Carsey from Main Street Rotary. He's a charter member of the Main Street Rotary. And T.R. Parrish from Lexington Rotary Club. Are there Rotarians with visitors today? Would you please stand?
Hi, I'm Andrew Clarkson. I'm pleased to have with me my sister Margaret. Stand up, Margaret. Let everybody see your smiling face. Margaret is a principal with Brandon Buzz, which is a DC-based PR and marketing firm. I think I'm saying that correctly.
Right.
And she and her husband moved to Columbia about 6-8 months ago, and they're Margaret's working on a project now to build a walking pathway around Columbia through downtown, through the various points of interest. And it's going to be fun. I'm going to put my bike on it, even though it's not a bike trail. I'm going to bike it today. See how it runs. Margaret Clarkson.
Bob Crutchfield, I have Mark Lett back again today, and it just dawned on me, Mark joined us the year that I was president, which was about 20 years ago, and he hadn't met him for quite some time, but he's been with us all day. He's the executive editor of the state newspaper.
Good afternoon, I'm Holt Chetwood with Wells Fargo. I do want to extend welcome to Margaret Clarkson as well. She is my new neighbor and a great neighbor. Margaret, we're so glad to have you in the neighborhood. David, stand up. We've got David Luber here with me from Wells Fargo as well, and we're excited to hear about the Fireflies this afternoon.
I'm Kay Shaw with the South Carolina Department of Commerce, and my guest today is Alan Clayton. Alan is the chair of the Industrial Technology Department at Midlands Technical College.
I'm Leroy Gibson, and I have a grandson, Josh Carter. He's a freshman at Charleston Southern. Played baseball at Westport. Interested in working for Fireflies whenever he gets back to Columbia.
And I'm Jack Sloan, and I have as my guest today Elizabeth Childers, as the new Director of Marketing at Orlando Life. Tony Stidham, I'm the President of Memorial Design Incorporated, and this is Sally Pratt, one of the owners of Memorial Design Incorporated.
Today. My guest is my daughter, Vieira Harris, who is a computer science major at Lander University. She's home for spring break. And her friend and my neighbors, Jada Brown, who is a freshman at the University of North Carolina A&T. She's majored in psychology. Jada Brown. Janae Brown, who is a freshman at the University of South Carolina Upstate, majoring in nursing. They're all on spring break hanging out with us today.
Not quite me.
Great way to spend spring break. It's Columbia. Welcome to all of you. For health and happiness, I'll call forward Terrence Garrett.
If we were in Italy, I would say ciao. If we were in China, I would say ni hao mao. If we were in Haiti, I would say c'est passé. If we were in Spain, I would say hola. But since we're in good old Columbia, South Carolina, how y'all doing? Well, we got some good news. The USC Lady Gamecocks, give them one cheer. Championship, and also our USC men are third seed. Give them a round of applause. Also, we have some good news. We have a solid auction that's taking place for our cart fund, and the starting bid is $55, but it's for 4 USC baseball tickets for tomorrow night. So I want you guys to partake and enjoy, and hopefully we can raise a lot of money for our cart fund on that effort. And our great and dynamic president, he paid me to say that, has the tickets. I don't feel the vibe. I don't feel positive energy in here. Well, it's great because I got a positive message for you today. I thought about what I would talk about today. It's bad when you ask a motivational speaker to get up and say a few words to his fellow friends. But I got to make sure I got the right place and I'm at the right time. So I need you to look to your neighbor to the left. I need you to look to your neighbor to the right. And you need to say to them, saying, "You're the second best looking thing I've seen all day." Now, who was the first? You are. Okay, great. Nathan Hale made a profound statement. He said, "My only regret is I only have one life to give to my country." Then a pioneer came after him several years later and said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." But then later on, and this weekend, sadly, a beautiful princess came along and said to say no to drugs, but also to say we can enhance the research for stem cell research to help better people. But then also this weekend, we lost a local pioneer, a gentleman by the name of Pat Conroy, who opened my eyes and gave me the idea to dream. A young African-American young man in the inner city, reading the books of the Lord of Disciplines and the Princes of Tides. And then he wrote a awesome and a dynamic letter, a love letter to the state of South Carolina. It's titled, "The State of the Heart." And I thought about those individuals because those individuals were willing to make a sacrifice for the greater good of this country, for this nation, and for the society that we live in. So I'm here today to encourage you to continue to be positive, to continue to make a sacrifice for your fellow man. My challenge to you today as Rotarians and for this week is to try to make a positive impact on everyone that you meet, no matter who they are, or what they're doing, or how they look. Just be positive. You be positive in everything that you do. In fact, you should, when you're in their presence, you should not only just be positive, but you should think positive. You should talk positive. In fact, you must act positive. And if you encounter some negative people, then you should encourage them to become positive. And if they refuse to become positive, then you need the positivity to leave them alone. And then, by fact, because that's what it's all about, making people better. Each and every one of you in this room has done it years and years in the past, and I know you will continue to do it in the future. And it's only fitting and timely that I talk about a positive story about baseball. There was a young kid in this backyard, and he said, "I'm the greatest baseball player that ever played the game." He threw the ball up, he swung with all his might. Strike one. He said, "Well, you know, I'm the greatest baseball player that ever played this game, and guess what? I'm not on steroids." And he threw the ball up, swung with all his might. Strike two. He said, "Wow, I'm the greatest baseball player that ever played this game, and I'm telling you, this is going to go out the park." And he threw the ball up and he swung with all his might. Strike three. He paused for a moment and said, "Wow, what a pitcher." Turn all of your situations, all of your challenges, and all of your obstacles to something positive. To something positive. And then last but not least, if it was a joke, but I think it's not, a burglar walked in someone's home late at night in the darkness. And as he was beginning to take items, he heard a voice from the corner saying, "Jesus is watching." The burglar said, "Who said that?" And finally heard a voice said, "I said it. My name is Moses, and I'm a parrot." He said, "What owners would name a parrot Moses?" He said, "Well, the same owners that named a 150-pound pit bull Jesus." So, the motto, the quote of the week for you today is to be positive or to be quiet. And remember, Jesus is watching. I love you all, and guess what? You can't do nothing about it. Peace.
Always look forward to you doing health and happiness. Thanks for being with us today. I do want to just take a quick moment, and Jack Hupp is back after being ill. I just want to welcome you, Jack. We're going to have a very exciting time at the Columbia Rotary. We're going to welcome new members, and to handle the induction today, past President Michael Compton.
Thank you, President Mark. Terrence challenged us all to be very positive, and I have 4 positive new members to recommend to you today and have you meet. So if you would come forward as I call your name, take a place up here, and turn, face the group here, I would appreciate it. First is Alana Jordan, sponsored by Carrie Powers. Gerald Smith, his sponsor, Jerry Bright. Ron Raines, who's accompanied by Beth Dendorf, who's standing in for Ron's sponsor, Jim Reynolds and Sonny White. And then Molly Clarkson, sponsored by her brother, Andrew Clarkson.
What cousin? In-law.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Well, that's close enough. We'll have some fun with that. So I'm going to be telling the club a little bit about each of these members, and then sharing some thoughts with the inductees themselves, and then finally inviting the sponsors to affix Rotary pins to new members. So my sponsors come on up too, and we'll get those pins handed out. As they're getting situated here, I want to remind the club that these new members really breathe new life into the club. They provide the fresh ideas and experience, and they provide really an avenue for Columbia Rotary to best represent the diverse servant leaders in the Midlands. And then I encourage each of you out there in these seats to consider who in your circle is a Rotarian who's in need of your sponsorship. All right, so as I call your name, you step forward. That way the club might recognize you and start to meet you. I'd like to introduce first Alana Jordan, who is sponsored by President-elect Carrie Powers. Incidentally, Carrie sponsored not one but 2 members today, although one of them had an immutable conflict and will have to join us at a future induction. So thank you first, Carrie, for sharing Rotary so actively, and then to you, Alana, for taking the plunge and enter Rotary International, which is the world's oldest and largest service club. Alana, who is married to Jared, and together with Jared, is residing with their daughter, cat, and dog at 119 Shady Lane in Casey, is the owner and communications director of her firm, Big Eyed Bird. Now, Alana, I'm curious, is that Big Eyed Bird from your association with Cocky at USC, or the fact that Big Eyed means observant, or some other?
The second.
The second, okay. We've all been curious about that, so we're glad to have that straight. Alana ran track at USC. Is that right?
Well, I threw discus and shot put. So.
Okay, look at her, threw discus and shot put, where she received her BA in Communications in 2005. Alana worked at Central South Carolina Alliance, and then Post No Bills before partnering to open her own agency in 2013. With ongoing interests in art, music, and athletics, Alana has served on various Midlands boards, including her current seat on the Dickerson Center for Children's Advocacy and the Jam Room Music Festival Board of Directors. Please welcome the multi-talented Alana Jordan of Columbia Rotary. And now meet Gerald Smith, who is joined by his sponsor, Jerry Bright. Sponsor Jerry is a relatively new member himself, and embodies the notion that new members are such an excellent source of other new members, because each of you has a fresh network and a new set of friends that might benefit from Rotary. So thank you, Jerry, for bringing Gerald to Columbia Rotary. So our new member, Gerald Smith, is no stranger to Rotary, with previous service in the 5 Points Club. Living on Duncan Street in the Shandon area, Gerald and his wife Pat Smith have reared 3 children, Merritt, Costa, and Alex. And with USC degrees in business and law, Gerald is now a self-employed lawyer on Lincoln Street. So Gerald, does that make you the Lincoln lawyer? Maybe the...
No, I think not.
Huh?
I think not.
No, he says he's the Chevy Shyster. So he's in the Vista, and Gerald has served on high visibility community boards and commissions such as the Richland County Planning Commission and the South Carolina Board of Corrections. Gerald loves, and of course I would never assume that these are prioritized, he loves his work, family, dogs, golf, and the environment. Welcome, Gerald. And now please meet this little guy, Ron Raines, who's the 6th president of Midlands Technical College. Beth Dindorf is standing in for Ron's sponsors, Jim Reynolds and Sonny White, past president of Midlands Tech. Now, I've always personally liked Ron Raines because when I've worked on projects, architectural projects at Midlands Tech, I've always been paid promptly. So thank you, Ron. Ron, who is clearly better looking than his Midlands Tech predecessor, Sonny White, may also be smarter, too, with a degree not only from his employer, Midlands Tech. Ron has bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees as well from Benedict, Central Michigan U, and Nova Southeastern U. On top of that, Ron has postdoc academic achievements and is a Kellogg Fellow for Leadership in Community Colleges. With active professional involvement in a number of national peer organizations and boards, Ron also served locally on the boards of Midlands Middle College, the Columbia Chamber, and the Urban League, among others. Ron has won international recognition as Outstanding Chief Business Officer for Community Colleges in 1998 by CCBO and has served his community as an Orangeburg Sertoman and through Toastmasters. Please welcome Ron Raines. And finally, I'd like you to meet Molly Clarkson, sponsored by her cousin, past president Andrew Clarkson. Living at number 6 Trafalgar Court, Columbia, with her husband Edward and her 4, count them, school-age children, one named presumably for Uncle Andrew and for a daughter named for your Aunt Sarah. What's Sarah's relationship to you? None? Okay.
In-law.
In-law. Molly is the house counsel for Seagulls, located at Bull and Lady Streets downtown. Educated at UVA in government and foreign affairs and at Duke. She has a JD in law. So we have lots of doctors in the house today. Molly has served with groups providing scholarships to UVA, literacy programs, and pro bono counsel related to domestic violence. Your bio, Molly, says that you like college football, basketball, swimming, and cooking. Now, which of those do you watch, and which of those do you do? Did you do the cooking? Okay. I guess they don't have college cooking. Okay, so here's the deal, Molly. I was the last of 4 children to go through the same schools as my older siblings. And I remember the unfair expectation that somehow I should have the same sense, good manners, and academic abilities of my older siblings. Now here you are, part of this Crawford group, related to the infamous Crawford Clarkson, one of the most venerated early members, past presidents of this club, and now cousin to one of our club's best loved current members and past president, Andrew Clarkson. I would say that's a really high bar that's set for you, but as our track star Alana here would say, high bars are a challenge, not an expectation. And I want you to know that your Rotary legacy is an invitation, not an expectation, just as it is for each of us down here to participate fully in this great organization. So please welcome Barley Clarkson as a group participation. All right, if you look about here for a second, I want to address you eyeball to eyeball. Great, thank you. So I want to welcome you to Rotary International and to the Columbia Rotary Club. You're joining a global force of 1.2 million Rotarians engaged in peace, understanding, health, projects as large as the eradication of polio worldwide, and as intimate and personal as ending hunger here in the Midlands. Now, many of the Midlands' key leaders are part of this club, and your leadership and your service gifts have been recognized, and that's why you're here. I challenge you each to be actively involved in some committee to share your ideas and your gifts with Columbia Rotary. On your road to this moment right here, you've learned some key facts about Rotary from your sponsor. former past club president, and from your weekly visits here. Once your dues are paid, and probably an invoice has already gone out to you, and once you attend a fireside chat, then you are officially on board here with one of the greatest organizations that you will ever be associated with. Welcome to Rotary.
Welcome to you all. We're excited to have you in the club. Thank you, Michael. Great job. In the interest of time, we'll keep moving and have the program. But before we do that, I want to have everyone take a look on their table and a couple of brochures. There's information about our golf tournament. We're going to have a lot more to talk about in the next few weeks as we lead up to it. April 25th is the date, and we have two co-title sponsors. JT's Automotive, you all know JT Gandolfo and his support of our club. He's been a member, past president, and longtime supporter of Rotary, as well as Wells Fargo. And I want to take a minute and thank Holt Chetwood and David Looper, Culver Choate, for their support of our golf tournament. So much more to come on that over the next few weeks. And with that, we'll invite Jack Sloan to the podium to introduce today's program.
Okay, thank you, Mark. John Katz is the president of Columbia Fireflies. This 2016 season marks his 24th year in minor league baseball and his 18th year as a top team executive. He currently serves as president of Columbia Fireflies and after spending the prior 6 years as president of the Savannah Sand Gnats. Katz was named the Sterling Mets Minor League Executive of the Year in 2010 and Columbia League Executive for the year 2006 and California League Executive for the year 2000. A 1993 graduate of Hofstra University in Hampstead, New York, Katz holds a BBA with a concentration in marketing. Now notice his last line, it says, John enjoys spending his free time coaching and watching youth sports. With 140 games and 70 home games, what free time? It's to do that. Oh, okay. He's a Boston native, and Katz lives in town here with his wife and 3 children. I'll give you John Katz.
First of all, thank you all for having me. The other thing that wasn't mentioned in my bio is I tend to be long-winded. So I'm hitting my start button on my timer, so I'm not looking down at my phone. Just want to let y'all know. I'll tell you a little story about my love affair with baseball. And for the record, I'm not a huge baseball fan. Love the game, but I'm not a huge baseball fan. Some may say, well, that's pretty strange considering you run a minor league baseball team, but I'll get to that in a minute. The business that I'm really in is in the memory business. And I'll tell you a little story. A few of you have heard this before. But back in 1975, I went to my first Major League Baseball game at Fenway Park. And how many of you have ever been to Fenway Park? Okay, so many of you, just like I did, probably walked down Lansdowne Street with the smells of the sausages, everything cooking right on the street with you. You walk in that gate, and Fenway being an older ballpark, all the concessions and restrooms are on the street level. And then you walk up an aisleway, and you hit the crest. And if you're fortunate enough to have good seats, you walk back downstairs. If you're like the rest of us, you walk straight upstairs. But as a 5-year-old, holding my dad's hand, walking up the stairs, and I hit that crest, and out in front of me was this beautiful green field. It's on the first base side of the stadium, so you also get this glimpse of the green monster. And I had goosebumps. Every time I went to Fenway Park as a child, I had goosebumps. I don't remember what games I went to. I don't remember who we were playing. But those memories that I have with my dad and my grandfather were ones that I've carried with me for the rest of my life. So back in 2007, my company sold our team to the Boston Red Sox. And we're talking about the best baseball player ever. I was not. My dream job then was to be the center fielder of the Red Sox. Clearly, that didn't happen, but I figured working for it would be the next best thing. And the first thing they did was invited me up to Fenway for game 1 of the 2007 World Series. So I went up, I walked down the same street on Lansdowne Street, hasn't really changed a bit. Walked in that same gate I walked through with my dad, walked up those stairs, and I felt like a 5-year-old again. I had the same goosebumps, the same excitement I had had. The only difference is that since I got the tickets from the Red Sox, I could walk downstairs instead of upstairs. So that's really the business that I'm in. It's really creating memories that span generations for families. So the Columbia Fireflies are a professional Class A minor league baseball team. We're affiliated with the 2015 National League champion New York Mets. We do play 140 games over the course of the season. The fun part of that is we have 150 days to accomplish that, and only 70 of the games are at home. So I do have half the year where I can do other things like watch my kids play sports. My daughter's quite a gymnast. I don't get to go to very many of her meets, but I do get to watch my boys play soccer every once in a while. We've got great in-state local rivalries, specifically with Charleston and Greenville, being Yankees and Red Sox affiliates. I'm sure there's no friendly competition between our beautiful city and Charleston and Greenville whatsoever. So I've heard rumors there might be. So some of our alumni from our time with the Mets, which has been the past 10 years, Captain America, if you're a Mets fan, David Wright actually played here, right down the street at Capital City Stadium in 2002. Jacob deGrom, who has the best hair in all of baseball, played for me in Savannah in 2012. Michael Conforto, who came out of nowhere, played for me in 2015 and was hitting home runs during the playoffs at the major league level last year. And then Wilmer Flores, who is probably not as famous for his abilities on the field, but finding out through social media at a Mets game that he had been traded. And if you saw this clip on SportsCenter, there was a Major League Baseball player standing at shortstop, tears running down his face because he thought he'd been traded. When you come to America for the first time, as Wilmer did in 2008 as a 16-year-old, he spent his entire career with the Mets, and he just never thought he could leave. Unfortunately, he didn't get traded. They traded for Cespedes instead. Wilmer stayed around, and I got to the World Series. So our vision is affordable family entertainment to local and regional residents and visitors. We've talked about memories, but what we really do is create an experience. And that's one of the things that our organization has done a phenomenal job with. We're into year 7 in a very similar venue in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I believe 5 times out of the last 7 years, we've been named the greatest minor league baseball experience in the entire country. It's my job to help my team elevate that so that they can wait a year and get it again maybe in 2020 when we're done winning it. A big part of what we do is being involved in the community. And we have certain team-wide initiatives that we participate in. Most of those are in particular focused on education at the elementary level. And then each of our, as of this morning, 27 full-time staff members are also involved in other charitable or civic groups, from Rotary clubs to boards and committees all across the Midlands. The last one, and this is why I'll ask this question, and it's only a little bit loaded now. How many of you are baseball fans? That's actually a higher percentage than usual. That's great news. But for those of you who didn't raise your hands and are wondering why I'm here, this is a lot more than just about baseball. It's about concerts, it's about community festivals, and it's also about different sports. The entire design of the stadium, I think I've got a slide coming up here in just a minute, was we changed the layout of this venue to accommodate football and soccer within the confines of the baseball stadium, and allowing for about 7,000 good seats for high school football, which will start here in September or October, and then also soccer, which we hope to do in the spring. So here's a view from outside the ballpark. This is what it'll look like when they hand me the keys in 12 days. 12 days. Holt and David were out there last week, and they're now pouring all the concrete that wasn't there when we walked out there. So every day is something new. Like I said, designed for a multitude of other activities, but Spirit Communications Park is also a public park. What's important about that is if you go back home, if your home isn't here, or you go out to another city and you say, I want to go see Oriole Park at Camden Yards, or I want to go to Wrigley Field in the middle of the afternoon, the gates are all locked. Spirit Communications Park will serve as a public park. So from dawn till dusk, 365 days a year, you can just walk right in. So my wife will have family that'll come visit us from California for Thanksgiving. I guess a little different for me because I'll have the keys, but let's say I didn't have the keys. We can just walk right in the gates. The only thing that's off limit is the field. So people can use it as a walking track. They can go out there and have a picnic lunch. It's really a great amenity for the community, and it's free to all. There's a 360-degree walk-around concourse, which is a third of a mile. So if you want to sneak out and get a different type of mile in, you can run 3 laps or walk 3 laps, push a stroller 3 laps around the concourse of the stadium, and you'll get your mile in for the day. We really offer something for everyone, and I know that what people expect. I guess I'll say expect the unexpected. We've got an executive chef and 5 full-time food and beverage employees that can do everything from what you'd expect at a ballpark, which is hot dogs and nachos and beer, all the way up to we do our own pork, slow cooked in-house. We've got our own signature barbecue sauce. If you're having a special event, we can do everything from hot dogs and hamburgers all the way up to steak and lobster. So whatever you're looking for an event, this is a great spot to do it. This is the layout for soccer. As it's laid out on this field, we could actually play an official Major League Soccer game at Spirit Communications Park. Of course, I have to get someone to move one of their games, Spirit Communications Park. But it's full-size soccer pitch at 110 yards by 70 yards. This is a shot from our Florida-Georgia Line concert in 2014 in Fort Wayne, Indiana. 13,500 people for a sellout. Because of our configuration, we can actually go a little bit larger than that. So look for some shows coming up on the calendar here in the future. It's also a great hub for community activities. I think we've got a spell here over about 5 weeks where we have 3 different races that will finish at 3 different home plates in 3 different stadiums in the Midlands. One in Lexington County, one at Founders Park over at Carolina, and one here at Spirit Communications Park. So if you want to start working up to those half marathons, you can start with a 5K, move to a 10K, and finish it out. I think the last one is at our ballpark. So from a business standpoint, the city itself set some very ambitious goals for not only local contracts, but minority-owned business contracts. And as you can see here, every one of those contract goals was exceeded. In fact, 291% of the project went to local firms, and 117% of the goal went to minority-owned businesses. So it's a phenomenal program, and as I walk the site every day and with the workers who are out in the trades, almost every single worker working on this job is from here. So it's very unique in that with their own hands, the men and women that are out there building a ballpark, that they can actually come and enjoy whatever they want, which I think is fantastic. We've got about 5,200 fixed seats with a capacity of around 9,000 for baseball and 15,000 for concerts. We've actually got 50-plus seats that are closer to the catcher than is the pitcher. So 45 feet 4 inches from home plate. Pitcher stands 60 foot 6 inches from home plate. And there's plenty of netting. One of the things about our partnership with Spirit Communications is that we have Bull Street, the site itself will be a gigabit community. We will also be a gigabit ballpark with 86 wireless access points, free for all patrons. So you'll have to sign into the SSID once, never pay a dime, and you'll be on Wi-Fi just like you're sitting in your house. These are just some renderings of the ballpark. What I really want to show you is some progress from the ballpark. So this was August of 2015. And we're going to fast forward. There's not a ton going on there. So let's go to December of this past year. As of December, our main structure was built. In January, you can start to see the field going in. That's all the base gravel that goes on or helps the field drain. In February, they had finished the preparation for the field. And I'd love to be over there right now to show you that even since last weekend, the field is ready for sod. 7:30 tomorrow morning, we'll be putting down sod for the first time, which is really exciting. We'll knock that out in a day or two. At 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, if there are any early risers, we'll be doing the last major concourse pour, which, if I can figure out how to get this pointer to work, is this area from here to here is the last bit of concrete that hasn't been poured. They've actually poured from here all the way up to the big center field bar in all its glory. They poured that last week, and the last concrete pour on the site is tomorrow. So as of tomorrow afternoon, you'll be able to walk all the way around. So we have 3 target demographics that we talk about when we talk about the ballpark. Number 1 is young professionals and college students. Why is this project so important? Well, between our 6+ colleges and universities we have in Columbia, we're bringing in 55,000 of the best and brightest from all over the country, and in some cases all over the world. This is one of the assets, the community or quality of life projects that can help those students make a decision to stay in town. When we talk about why people want to come and build on Bull Street, it's not just the ballpark, it's the 400,000 square feet of retail, it's the 1 million square feet of commercial and multifamily apartments that'll be on that site. It'll be the Babcock building being restored to all its glory. All this on a 5 to 6 year time frame. But this is the type of venue that when your best and brightest are offered jobs in Greenville, and in Charleston, and in Charlotte, they don't have to go somewhere else to have this type of first-class venue. And when you partner that with the amazing venues we already have, obviously USC has phenomenal sports facilities, entertainment facilities, we've got the arena, we've got one of the best zoos in the entire country. Who knew that? I'm guessing a lot of you did. Because when I told people I was moving to Columbia about 1.5 years ago, they said, oh, Columbia, that's great. That's 2 hours from everything. And then I got here. I commuted for 1.5 years, and I moved here with my family in July. I try to explain to people, we're not 2 hours from everything. I live southeast. I'm 10 minutes from everything. I mean, if I want to go to the beach, that's fine. But I can go to Lake Murray. I can go downtown. I can go to a great movie theater. I can go see some of the best college sports in the country, all within 10 minutes of my house. So this misconception that Columbia is great because it's 2 hours from everything is wrong. It is 2 hours from certain things, but it's 10 minutes from everything else. And that's the message that, as a community, I think we all need to do a great job of reminding people of. It's not, Columbia, it's, this is why we're here in Columbia. This is what's great about Columbia. And this is just another amenity added to what is already making Columbia a great city. Family friendly, families in minor league baseball go together like peanut butter and jelly. Our most affordable tickets on the lawn are $5. That's not a gimmick. That's every night. It's the capacity. We're going to wait and see on opening night how many of these we're going to sell. The capacity is somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 on our berm seating, and that's a $5 ticket for every single home game. Corporate entertainment. This is a great spot. We've got great venues to do that while school is in session when we're talking about sports. But there's that lag in the summer after baseball ends and before football starts. there's a good 4 months. This is a great venue for that. We've got 16 luxury suites. I've got a stadium club that's 7,000 square feet. Looks like it's going to be pretty decent for those of you who've been in there. They're getting ready to carpet that here soon. But it's great function space to accommodate groups from 50 all the way up to a 400-person seated plated dinner, all within the confines of our stadium club with a full-service kitchen not feet away. So it's a great venue for that. But the suites, we've got some really flexible seating opportunities. I won't bore you with all of them, but if everyone can remember, firefliestickets.com. I'm sure you're all writing that down right now. Firefliestickets.com. All of those seating options are laid out for you. This is a view, an artist rendering that came out about a year ago. This is looking from our party deck on the third base side, looking back towards the first base building, which is the first piece of private development that's going up right next to the ballpark. That will also open in April. That's what it looked like a week and a half ago. We come back here and do this all over again next week. You'll see green grass. You'll see a picnic area over here that is filled with bright green picnic tables in a ballpark that will merely be a week away from completion. So it's a very exciting time for us. For me, not only as the person who gets to come and talk about this, but to be out there daily and to see the changes that are, I mean, literally daily. I walked the site yesterday afternoon, and I got there this morning for a construction meeting, and a whole bunch of other things have been done. They're pouring the concrete plaza out in front of the stadium. They're finishing carpet. All the drop ceilings are in our offices, so that the furniture installer can start to install furniture tomorrow. It's really nice that our general contractors, 3 of the 4 partners are all Midlands-based companies. Contract Construction, Construction Dynamics, and Enviro Ag Sciences, all local companies. It's great to see that their subcontractors, like I said before, their subcontractors, the men and women that have been putting 5, 6, 7 days a week into this project, are going to be able to actually enjoy the fruits of their labor. So I'm going to end with that. I'm happy to take a couple of questions while we have a few minutes left. Yes, sir.
How will you access the space? Will it be bus routes, shuttles, parking? How will folks come if they don't live on site?
That's a great question, and I'll have an answer for you on Wednesday.
Okay.
There will be, the good news is it's a 155-acre parcel. Stayed on time, that's great. It's a 155-acre parcel, and there's a lot of surface parking. What we need to do, what we're working out here this next week, is which areas are most convenient for people to park so that we can light them, because we want people's experience when they park their cars to be a safe one. My sense is that a lot of the parking will be on the south side, with entrances off of Bull and Colonial. There may be a VIP entrance on Calhoun. But as the site fully builds out, there'll be dozens of ways to get in from Hardin, Bull, Colonial, and Calhoun. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us about any of the historical buildings that you were able to save on the property?
Now, I will answer to the extent that I'm aware of it. The master developer, Bob Hughes, committed to restoring 5 buildings, and I think now they're actually up to 6. The Babcock, which is really the centerpiece, that has been, that's under contract with one of the most reputable historic preservation and restoration companies in the country. That's going to be turned into, I've heard a range of numbers, but about 250 apartments. The Ensor building, which sits right in front of the ballpark, is, rumors are maybe a restaurant, brew pub, and some office space on the 2nd floor. The Williams building, the center section, which is the historic section, is actually part of the front 35, which is the retail and entertainment district with all the, the retail, the shops, and housing. The bakery is being renovated right now by SoCo, which is a technology incubator. They're about halfway done. I think they'll be open this summer. And then the Parker Annex, which is close to Calhoun, Literally, those guys are waiting on utilities, and they're close over. Yes, sir.
How many employees will you have on a normal ball game day?
My full-time staff will be about 29 people. I think on an average game day, depending on the day of the week, will be somewhere between 175 and 240 people per day. Sir?
How about the suites? How are they coming along? Is that sold, all of them?
We've got commitments. I think we've got about 4.5 that are available still, but based on letters and the contracts we have out, they'll probably last maybe another 3 weeks. You know, we've got 38 days and 3.5 hours till the gates open, so we've got plenty of time to sell them. And we sell them on quarter season, half season, and full season packages.
The office space, the office building that we see here, the 5-story building, are there just any commercial businesses there, or who will be in those housing those?
The only official tenant that has been announced is Ogletree Deacons, a law firm, and they've got the entire top floor. But that's all being, I think, NAI is doing the commercial leasing. It's good space. It's shell space right now that they're going to build to suit.
So any business can lease that space and watch ball games.
Yes, sir. You want to have as good of a view as you would from one of my skyboxes there. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Besides Charleston and Greenville, what other teams are in the league?
Oh my goodness. There are 14 teams in our league. Closest ones, Augusta, Charleston, Greenville, Hickory, North Carolina, Greensboro, Kannapolis, and these ones aren't close. Delmarva, Maryland, which is Salisbury, Eastern Shore. We've got a team in Asheville. We've got the Taurus in Asheville. We've got a team in New Jersey, which is technically on the Atlantic, but nowhere near the South Atlantic. I'm not really sure why they're in our league. There's a team in beautiful Hagerstown, Maryland. And there are a couple of more in the North Carolinas that I've probably forgotten, like Asheville, which is beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. John's going to stick around if you have additional questions and you'd like to come shake his hand. Looking forward to having minor league baseball back in Columbia real soon, so it's exciting to hear from him today. A couple of quick announcements. I think Elliot Powell has a quick announcement.
I'm going to continue to bring everybody's awareness to the fact that we have folks who don't have badges or the badges aren't correct. If you'll see me afterwards, you still haven't got your badge the way you want it, we'll try to get that right.
Thank you, Elliot. Thanks for your work on that. And if I could have all the new members, if you would come stand by the piano after the meeting's over. I think all the members here would like to shake your hand and welcome you to the club, so please do that. And then President-elect John Dacus, what's coming up?
Good afternoon. Next week we have John Purdy, who's the Vice Chair of the Department of Transportation Commission. And he will be here to tell us what we already know about the Canyon Road. But I'm sure he'll like things we don't know about. I do want to tell you about an opportunity we have real quickly. As you know, the district conference is coming up, and I hope all of you will be able to attend, as many as possible. And they have requested that we bring books. If you have any children's books from kindergarten to grade 6 at home, they're going to supply books to the schools who lost books during the flood period, and we can assist with that. So if you have old children's books at home, or if you want to run out and buy a couple of children's books, that would be a great thing to do and take them to the conference. Thank you.
Yep. Looking forward to it, John. Thank you. And the last announcement, the cart fund. Still raising money for the cart fund. If you'd like to go to the baseball game tomorrow night, Wofford is going to be in town to play the Gamecocks. Come see me. The current bid is $60, so if you want a bid more than that, come see me at the end. And let's stand and we'll sing.
Praise the
Thank you.